Claude Fable is going to change how we make games as game developers. In general, AI tools have already changed how all software engineers I know work. None of them, even in high-paying software consulting jobs, write code by hand anymore. And maybe you've already seen what Claude Fable can do, things like creating full-on Skyrim game replica or a replica of Minecraft in, just one prompt. But I wanted to actually understand how is this going to change how we make games. It's of course very different when you're making a game like Minecraft, where the game already exists and you can just go to the wiki and look at what exists in the game and what you need to implement. Same for games like Skyrim. The whole game is documented into these massive wikis where you can basically just search all mechanics of the game, all NPCs, all interactions, all quests. So you don't actually have to design anything yourself when you're making a replica of a game that already exists. Now clearly this is not true if you're making your own game, and I've been experimenting with Claude Fable by making games of my own and seeing how far it can go. First, for fun, I tried doing the complete game in one prompt, and I wanted to try to make a 3D game because I mostly don't make 3D games. I'm not much of a 3D modeler, I prefer drawing pixel art instead. And you can see that it has some charming feel to it. I'm not sure how the examples for the Skyrim game, made by Claude Fable, I'm not sure how they got their 3D models, but for this one, they are just built from basic 3D building blocks. And you can see everything is basically just built out of geometric shapes. And of course there are some issues, like the hands, for example, are clipping into the body quite a bit. And the broom is clipping to the floor, and there are lots of issues like that. But for something that was made by Claude with just code and screenshot tools with no actual generative models, it's pretty impressive. And if we actually test the game, we can pretty quickly see that the user experience is quite poor also. So for making a real game like this, or even making a more serious game, it's going to require a lot more than just one prompt. You can see there's a lot of stuff that is just quite broken, where in many places you have to actually clip through terrain to make progress, and many areas are kind of unreachable, and in general the game feel is not quite there. The controls feel a little floaty, and everything looks pretty boring, and a lot of visual glitches and terrain placement that produces these very weird places. And kind of from my point of view, the challenge here is not that the model isn't good. It's not that it's not capable of building anything you want. The real problem is that you need to specify completely what you want it to make, otherwise it's going to be guessing, and it's going to be designing it on its own, and honestly I don't think it's that great of a game designer. And even if the AI tools were great game designers, there's still no point in making games that are designed by AI. Unless you're in here just to make money and you want to create some kind of pipeline that churns out a new game every day, and then you try to publish 1,000 games a year and get one of them to be successful. Unless that's your goal, you have basically no chance of actually standing out from the other AI slop games out there. So there's always gonna be a place for experiences created by real humans that are a result of real game design. So from that point of view, I don't think single prompting games or having Claude Fable just produce massive volumes of output on its own, I don't think that's gonna be the way these tools are going to be used. I think we need more touch points and more input from the actual designers to make something cool. Now, since the model's kind of benefit is the fact that they can work on their own for long durations, for complex long tasks, if you want to actually get some benefit out of it, you still kind of do want longer tasks that have multiple phases and a lot of involved reasoning in the task itself. And for that, I've found that the best tasks are basically prototyping new features, doing more thorough prototyping, doing in-depth tooling and simulations and testing systems. And possibly the best use case for the kind of long scope tasks of Claude Fable has been building these simulation dashboards for strategy games. The idea here is that you can simulate a playthrough of a game and basically analyze the game's progression through different methods of data analysis. And alternatively, if these kind of mathematical simulations don't give you very good results, you can also do things like actually have Claude run the game for you. So this is a pretty cool thing I tried making. Basically, the idea is that you give Claude access to the kind of API of your game. This works great for strategy games. For other types of games, you need to figure out something else. But for turn-based games, deck builders, and other strategy games, this is very cool. Like, this is basically a deck builder idle strategy game. So I can basically just tell Claude what options it has available, what things it can execute in the game, and then you can see that it's basically executing actions in the game one by one. It's basically being prompted with the game state, and then its task is to choose the best action for any given situation in the game. And it's using some haiku models with very fast and very cheap token usage. So it can run like hundreds of simulated turns in the game for relatively cheap. Now, of course, the problem here is that it's basically going to result in just one playthrough of the game, which is probably not ideal for a game where you would want to get multiple iterations and actually see kind of what the different outcomes would be in a game like this. But it's still a very cool tool, which I plan on experimenting further with. But yeah, here you can basically see the outputs of the actions Claude is taking. You can see that we are on day 3 now, starting from day 0 to day 2 and from 0 to day 1 and day 2. And here you can see all the units the Claude player has unlocked, and here we have other measurements of the simulated player's progress. And for these kind of simulations, you can basically have the agent play the game on any level of detail. So for this one, it just has an access to an API where it has a list of actions it can take. It doesn't actually play the game per se. It's not like navigating the UIs. It's more like, here's the units you have, here's the game resources you have, here's what you can buy in the shop, here's what you can, do in the kind of unit unlock view, and here's the button to go battle and try to make progress in the campaign. So then basically every step it gets a list of actions it can take, and then it chooses one of the actions to try to make progress towards some goal that has been defined for it. And here in the right you can actually see it's giving reasoning for why it chose any specific action. So here it chose this unit. It says that this unit is the best carry unit, so it's going to spend all its gold to upgrade that unit to make some more progress in the campaign. And yeah, this is still like very much work in progress. I've been only working on this whole idea for a couple of days. But if you really take this further, I'm sure this could be used to make some really cool stuff. And overall, there's of course the problem that this might result in very generic games once again. But the point of this is not to polish your game. It's not to create the final balance of your game. This is not the thing you use to make the game. This is the thing you use to get a baseline of balance for your game. It's what you use to diagnose issues for the game. So when you use this, you don't have to spend hours playtesting. You can run this once and then you have a good idea of, does the game approximately look good? or is it some there? Because for example, I've seen a lot of issues with this game where basically we have these stages the player is progressing through, and sometimes during the first play session, the AI agent can beat like 30 of the first stages. And that's of course not good. You don't want the players to be able to basically beat half of the game with the starting roster. And now we can actually see a different issue. It's already day 4 and the AI agent still hasn't beaten stage 1. So in this case it's actually the opposite problem, where the first stage seemed to be much too difficult, so that the AI has basically no chance of beating it. And basically the reason this is useful now is I know that there is clearly some balance issue in the early stages, or possibly a bug in the simulation, who knows, that needs to be fixed. And of course, you know, it would be really easy to just play the game once and notice this issue in the game, but when you are tweaking a lot of things, if the issues arise at like day 30, you can't really play to day 30 every time. You would have to do some kind of way where you could jump through the different stages of the game through some developer UIs. But still, that doesn't really give you a good idea of the whole way through the game. So with stuff like this, you can get a really good big picture view of how the whole progression of the game works. So anyway, I'm really excited for this. I think even if this isn't the best use case for it, and we end up finding other better ways to use the new AI models, I think this is a kind of a proof of concept that there is a lot of cool stuff still that can be done with these tools. And I will personally be experimenting a lot more with where these tools can be taken. But that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.